So Sammy, tell me, don't you think the timing was perfect? I know it was. The timing was perfect, wasn't it? I had asked you the question, what makes you think God would reveal something to you and not to me? You went through those doors and you said, because I'm of the faithful and discreet slave class. Then you heard my voice say you are not of the faithful and discreet slave class. Tell me that timing was not the way it happened. I know that was how it happened. I know it was perfect timing, Sammy. And really you need to hear what the Spirit says to you. I've wondered since that event, was that your brainchild? To change the idea that the rest of the anointed are only domestics. Really, this was a very great error. And you have led everybody who has followed that idea into a state of apostasy. You totally blanked me when I came up to speak to you. You didn't know the first thing about me. You didn't know my name. You'd never met me before. You had no way of knowing that I was a disfellowship person. I've been disfellowshipped since 2004, and that disfellowship had been brewing for a number of years. I had complained over and over again about the idea that was promoted in the congregations that the governing body was the faithful and discreet slave. They couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't call me before a judicial hearing. They couldn't publicly reprove me. I just was able to continue to correct them over and over again. But of course they didn't like that. And one way or another they got me out. And really, they didn't like certain things that I commented in the Watchtower. Aside from this faithful and discreet slave error that I kept pulling them up on, when I prepared my Watchtower or my book study preparation, the Holy Spirit sometimes would teach me things. And I gave a comment once in a Watchtower on happy are the mild-tempered ones, since they shall inherit the earth, Matthew chapter 5 and verse 5. And I pointed out that the audience Christ was talking to would not inherit the earth, literally in the sense of living on it. They would inherit the earth in the sense of having ruling authority over it. And this realization I put down in writing with some other thoughts, and I handed it to a circuit overseer named Jeff. And I didn't ever know what happened to those writings. I asked the presiding overseer what happened to them, but he wouldn't tell me. And lo and behold, a number of years later, I believe following my disfellowship, because I still continued to get the magazines for a while, I saw my own very thought being taught through the pages of the Watchtower, in a Watchtower study article. And I was a little bit disappointed to see it in there, because I'm thinking, well, why would God reveal this to you? Yeah, I'm throwing it back at you. Why would God reveal this to somebody on the governing body who I knew was in a state of apostasy? And it's only the last year and a half, 2 years, I believe I found the answer to that. And the answer is that you, Sammy, and the rest of the governing body have access to an apostate library. Have you got my writing in there? I'm no author. I wouldn't have the ability to write a book, but certainly I can put pen to paper occasionally and put my thoughts down. And there was a bundle of papers that I gave to this ex-circuit overseer, Jeff Young. Now, in my heart of hearts, I have to conclude that you guys have done some means of measure of fraud here. I believe that you've stolen that thought from me and you've presented it as your own. You've done that in this instance concerning my writings, and it makes me wonder, in how many other instances have you done that? Now again, you are not the faithful and discreet slave, and really you have proof of it. You have writings written by other ex-members, members even, who profess to be of the anointed. So you have the proof that God reveals insight on his word through other members of the slave class. So really you have no basis to say that only you are the faithful and discreet slave. You must hear what the Spirit is saying to the congregations and change this teaching that you have put in place since 2012 or 2013, whenever it was you actually did it. You must change this back to the idea that you had from 1938.